People handled COVID in different ways. Some got rest, while others were inspired by the time. Gregory Kozak of Scrap Arts Music saw it as an opportunity to create a project that's been on his mind for quite a while. Tonight he talks about his new show, Children of Metropolis, and what we can expect with the performance.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me about this new show. So, I wanted to start by asking if you can tell us more about where the inspiration for Child of Metropolis came from and, how it all came to fruition.
Oh, wow. A little bit of it has to do with COVID. Thank you very much, because it gave me a window to explore what I've been exploring probably most of my musical life here. I wanted to create a show. Past touring, I've had an invented musical instrument ensemble, which is a kind of unusual thing in the first place. But I decided I wanted to make an orchestra of invented musical instruments that no one had ever seen or heard before out of recycled materials, because I wanted to be green a bit. I wanted to not spend a lot of money. And I just wanted to explore what was in my potential head from years of studying music and stuff and using the resources around me. People all over the world make instruments, musical instruments from stuff around them. And I just didn't want to go to a store and buy stuff. So my first iteration of the show was we would do that and perform, and people did not realize that I'd built the instruments myself out of recycled material by hand. So I wanted to create a show that would actually demonstrate a bit more clearly that these are handmade instruments, and I wanted to tell a story with the instruments as well. Right. Well, that was the inspiration for the show, and then also I loved Fritz Lang's early film called Metropolis, which was the first sci-fi film, big sci-fi film, really, to hit the film screen, and it was an incredible piece of work, using very simple parameters, but a story written, and it was at the end of the film Metropolis. All the children are saved, and this whole city is just a mess that the adults are wrecked. So I thought, well, that's a great place for a movie to start. What happened to all those kids? Because they're actually, we're humans. We just keep reproducing and making more of us.
Yeah.
So I did just thought, okay, I'm going to make a story that takes place 50 years after, or indefinite amount of time after Metropolis has ended. What happened to those kids? And I decided I'd make a movie about that, as well as tell the story with music. So now it's what, 3, 4 years later,
Mhm.
all of that is done, and we finally have a full-length film, 16 millimeter film that I made myself with the assistance of a director in an old 16 millimeter Bolex camera from the 1950s, and trying to recapture the spirit of Metropolis and what happened afterwards, and told sort of a mythical journey, told through the eyes and the music and the mayhem of one central character.
When it comes to the instruments and everything that was created for this tour, how long did it take to create all of that?
Stubbornness is a virtue. Okay. The length of time is hard to answer because sometimes you make stuff and it happens right away. And sometimes, and whenever I put something together and I go, wow, that's a cool thing. It sounds great. I go, okay, what did I do wrong? Because almost anything worthwhile is worth spending time on and getting to know well. My string instruments are giant, I call them string towers. And I wrote a string quartet, which you'll hear, or trio actually. I've got, and there is like sailboard masts with pieces of discarded metal pipe and balloon resonators. And if you play them incorrectly, they sound like a chimpanzee with his hair on fire. Or
Lovely. Okay.
or if you approach them lovingly, they can sound like absolutely blissfully beautiful. So they have that color range, and I wanted to draw the music out of those instruments. It took me a while to compose this stuff, so I didn't think about time anymore. This is what I've been doing forever. So the film took about, roughly speaking, 4 years from then till now. I'm doing my final edits actually today, with
Wow.
some holes. And the music, I actually changed some of the music last week at our final rehearsal with the ensemble. And the band was like, you're changing the music 2 weeks before the premiere. And I'm going,
Of course I am. That's
"Yeah."
that's how this works.
The work is, and there's an old saying, the films are never completed, they're abandoned. So I can still,
I
and
love that.
And my instruments are never finished. I can still add things to them. And well, here's what happens when you make your own musical instruments, your own stuff, you give stuff a name and you never forget it. And it's never finished. So, but however, what we're going to show you is a finished show. My story is done. I'm going to move on to, I might write a book about all this.
With some artists, they are very particular on how things, like as you mentioned, how you wanted it to sound, while it was lovingly, jokingly, but you wanted things to sound a particular way. You as a percussionist, did you find it a challenge to bring others in who, did you have to let them know this is what I'm expecting, or did they offer their feedback in the process of creating the sound? How did that process work?
My music is my language. So I've gone to jazz school in New York, a wonderful school, new school, and studied at Creative Music Studios, which is sort of an avant-garde music school in northern New York State. And my extensive musical background in studies, I played orchestrally, I played lots of indigenous music. So the musicians I look for, I want them all from diverse backgrounds. I don't want just orchestral or just jazz or just pop musicians. I want a little bit of everybody's different take on it. And I put my music in front of them. I show them how to play the instrument and what I want them to play. But the magic has to come from them. They have to love what they do. So I find that's not hard to find. And then we have to work as an ensemble to find our group voice.
I like you're creating this world of childhood wonder, essentially, even though you're all adults and you're musicians. It goes beyond that. And I would guess that's the feeling you want the audience to feel with the show, when they're viewing it, when they're experiencing it. That it's just like, I wonder what I could have created, with this can of soup that I used last night and this spoon. Just having those thoughts of kind of taking away from the moment of being an adult and really feeling that childhood wonder of sound. That's a beautiful feeling.
It's the best, that's the wonderful thing about it's not a childish headspace either. It's a very human, how do you describe it? It's some of the sweet stuff of human being. It's where love rests. You love who you are, what you're doing, and you love the place you are at. It's definitely a positive message we're putting out there doing this.
Greg, where can people learn more about Scrap Arts music and the upcoming performance and what they can expect? Where can they find you?
We have a website, Scrap Arts, www.scrapartsmusic.com. And we put a lot of effort into making that website is transparent about what we're doing. And it's got lots of layers and instruments you can look at, where we're touring, where we've been, performers in the ensemble, and a bit about them.
Thank you so much for talking with me today. I appreciate the time, and we are definitely looking forward to the show.
Thanks, Teresa. You have a great day. Hope you get all your stuff done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.